It's Powerback time on the Gutsy Podcast, your 20-minute boost to reclaim and refocus your energy. Get ready to have bursts of clarity, a boost of confidence, and the practical steps you need to make gutsy moves forward. You've got big things to do, so let's get your power back. Have you ever been in that place where you find a routine, you find something that works, something that really starts sticking, and you do it for a while? Maybe it's a routine, it's a way that you show up for something, a skill or a method, it's working for a while. You're starting to see results. And then all of a sudden it feels like, I don't want to do that anymore. This isn't interesting anymore. I'm not seeing results anymore. I've just kind of hit a plateau. It's frustrating because the thing that was working all of a sudden, seemingly overnight, doesn't anymore. So what do you do when this happens? You want to keep the momentum, you want to keep going, but what you've been doing, it's not cutting it anymore. On today's episode, we're going to talk about why it stopped working in the first place and what you can do to allow yourself to evolve so that you can keep your momentum going. If you've hit a slump, but you want to keep your momentum going, then today's episode is just for you. First, I want to make sure, did you know that I have a community for women? It's called the Gutsy Collective, and it's a coaching and accountability space designed for women ready to break through those mental barriers, learn how to trust yourself, and then to take the bold action towards the thing that you really want. This is an incredibly supportive space, an educational space for the women that know that they're meant for more, but they feel like they're stuck, unclear, or overwhelmed. Maybe you're at the edge of a major life shift. You're craving guidance, accountability, and just other like-minded women to move forward with. Look, I know that you have spent years prioritizing everybody else. It's finally time to do that for you. So whatever you've been hesitating on, that thing that you keep thinking about, but you just can't quite seem to get over the edge, the Gutsy Collective is the space where you get to do it. And guess what? You can come test drive it for free for the first 2 weeks. Just go to lauraora.com, click on the Gutsy Collective, and sign up today. All right, so let's talk about this whole thing about changing up the way that you do things. Somewhere, we're taught if it was working one way one time, then it must work that way forever and a day. And you feel bad if you don't like it anymore, or you feel this weight or expectation that, hey, it worked before, so now something is wrong with me. But in reality, there are forever moving pieces in your life, in people's lives around you, in the environment, in society, in the way that things work. I mean, things are always moving. So the first thing that we've got to do is let go of the expectation that just because it worked great one time or for a while, that it has to be that way forever. If we start leaning into accepting that, hey, I am a growing, evolving human being, which means that my needs and desires change too. And I kind of want to say that if it's not working anymore, I think it's because you've up-leveled. You have grown. You have changed. You have mastered whatever you needed to during that particular season. Let me give you a quick example. So last year, I started to walk. Regaining my health has been quite a journey that I'm still on. And at one point, I just got fed up with my own bullshit, with my own excuses of why I can't work out, and it's too hard, and it's too cold, and it's too dark, and it's everything that I don't want it to be, and so therefore I'm just not going to. But doing nothing is only making me feel more like shit, not just physically, but also mentally about myself too. So at one point I got tired of my bullshit. I'm like, okay, Laura, enough's enough. Put on the shoes. Let's just start walking. We don't have to do a whole ass routine. We don't need special clothes. We don't need to do all this stuff. I am 40 now though, so we got to have the right shoes because fucking back pain is a real thing. But I'm like, let's just start. What feels good? What's low impact? What's something that will support my body and not strain me right now? Walking. I love to be outside. It helps me to charge. I love listening to music and I like moving my body, even though I talk myself out of it. So almost every evening after dinner, I would already have my shoes on, because that was a trick, by the way, is if I changed out of work clothes into workout clothes and I made dinner in my workout clothes, then I already had it on and my excuses were harder to fight. So I would clean up dinner and I'm like, okay, I'm going for my walk. And I started to do that and I got a couple of days in and I enjoyed it. And then I got a couple of weeks in and I was feeling good. And I got a couple of months in and I'm proud of myself because I stuck to something. And I did this for about 6 months. Was it perfect every day? No. But on average, I was walking at least 5 days a week, every single week for about 6 months. And then some things just started to shift. I wasn't feeling as excited to go do it. It was starting to feel monotonous. It started to feel like a routine. I like structure, not a big fan of routine. I know that's a weird thing, but if you understand, you understand. We went into the colder season. It was getting dark earlier. Like there was just a lot of environmental changes. I mean, my excitement and my hoof for it just wasn't there. So interestingly enough, about that same time, my son said, hey, I've been taking weightlifting at school. I think I want to keep doing this. I really like it. I would like to join a gym. Now listen, my first thought was, oh my God, I'm going to have to drive to the fucking gym like 4 or 5, 6 days a week. I'm going to have to leave the house and I'm going to be gone for a long time. And we're going to have to drive there and wow, that whole that we do to ourselves. But in standard mom and woman fashion, I was like, his needs are important. And what I didn't realize in that moment, I was making them more important than my own. And I was committed to making sure that he had what he needed to maintain his health. So we went and we visited a few local gyms and we found one that surprisingly we all really liked. And while my first reaction to going to the gym was like, ugh, I don't want to do this. There's just a million reasons not to. As soon as we found the right gym, the one that really resonated with us as far as atmosphere, size, opportunities, amenities, all of a sudden there was this newfound spark in me, how I kind of felt when I started to walk. I felt excited. I felt energized. I felt ambitious again. And what I realized was, hey, my needs have actually changed. I've mastered the level of the low impact workout that I needed to do for 6 months. I've been regaining my strength and just migraines and PCOS and hormonal changes and extra weight and all these things that I've been living with and trying to figure out how to manage. Walking was the first right step, but that step evolved. And as soon as we went to this gym, it was like, oh, I'm leveling up. I'm ready for the next phase. Being around other people that were doing their own thing, but together, I realized like, oh my God, I need community now. Part of what's not working for me walking anymore is doing it alone. I'm craving being around other people. I'm not talking to them. We're not chit-chatting. Everyone's doing their own thing, but there's just this energy around being around people that are doing things that are similar to you. P.S. That's why the Gutsy Collective works so well. It's a community of women doing things on their own, but together alongside with you. So we've been going to the gym now for 2.5 months, 3 months at time of recording. And this is working for me now. I like the atmosphere. I like how I feel. I get energized when I think about going. And when I'm starting to question if I want to go, Camden's right there ready and he encourages me and vice versa. I tell you this to show you a real life example of how our needs change, how the environment changes, how our interests change. You're not the same person as you were 6 months ago, 12 months ago, 18 months ago. And what's worked in the past may not work forever. Chances are it's probably not going to because you're growing, you're evolving. And you know what? If it's not working anymore, you've leveled up. You're ready to challenge yourself in a new way. You're ready to find a new method that stretches you in a healthy way. And if changing feels hard, like it kind of did for me at first, it's because you're used to things being a certain way. You're used to a routine. You're used to doing things a certain way at a certain time. But spoiler alert, it's not really working anymore, is it? If it was, you wouldn't be listening to this today. The other thing that feels hard is letting go of the expectation of how you saw it going. At first I was like, oh, I feel bad because I don't want to walk outside anymore. Like I'm going to let somebody down. Like the trees are going to be pissed off because I'm not walking with them anymore. Holy Bologna, Batman. Like we make up the craziest shit when we are embarking on a fucking change. You got to be willing to let go of the expectation, whether it was from someone else or self-inflicted. That your need to change is not a failure. You didn't screw something up. It's not going to hell in a handbasket. No, it just means you're ready for something new. That's all it has to be. It means nothing else unless you give it meaning. So I want you to think about what's not working anymore. Where have you lost interest? Where have you lost momentum? Where have you plateaued? Think about things like your communication style at home or at work, the way that you work out, the way that you meal prep, the way that you take care of your body. Maybe it's healing modalities, a physical therapist that you've been going to, a massage therapist you've been seeing, a therapist that you have been going to. Maybe it's something that's going on in your routine, your schedule, timing. If you're in business, it's things like your marketing, your messaging, the way that you're working throughout your day. This concept can go towards anything that you have been putting consistent effort into in some form or fashion. And that resistance that you feel, that like beating yourself up, it's just yourself, your future self knocking on the door saying, hey, I'm ready to try things a new way. Could you help me out? And you're standing on the inside of the door being like, screw you, I'm staying in here. I'm going to do things my own way. And then you go sulk in the corner because it's not actually working anymore. So why is it not working? Well, I mean, it could be a million different things, but here are some common stuff. Maybe you're bored. You're bored. You've done it this way for a really long time. It's no longer interesting to you. Maybe it's become too routine. Like I said earlier, I like structure. I like knowing to get things done, but I don't like the same thing at the same time every single day. For my brain, that's a nightmare. Maybe you're opposite. Maybe it's not routine enough. Maybe you are craving more structure, more timing, more padding around the things that you're trying to do. Maybe it's not working because you're ready to be challenged. You're ready to shake things up. You're ready to try it a new way. That requires you to get out of your comfort zone. And we all know what we like to do when it's time to be challenged. We like to go back to our nest egg and stay nice and comfy cozy. But that is not going to get you any further. Maybe your interests have changed. Maybe this just isn't the thing for you anymore. Okay, for instance, maybe you've been sending out a newsletter every single Wednesday for the last 4 years. And now it's just feeling, right? It feels heavy. You don't really want to do it anymore. You're not really getting the response anymore. It kind of feels like you're talking into the void. Maybe there's a new thing that you're doing in your business or in your life or in your blog that you want to talk about, but you haven't allowed yourself to do it. Your interests have changed. It's okay to change them. Maybe your needs have changed, right? Life circumstances, kids growing up, sports happening, a loved one that needs more of your time and attention, house projects going on. I mean, life evolves sometimes by the second. So if what you've been doing isn't working anymore, are you fighting the current? Do you need to grow and evolve with the way that your life is shifting so that you can continue on with what you're doing? For instance, if you get used to working out in the morning during the summer, the kids are home, everyone's still in bed, that's your time to shine. But now we're moving into the fall or we're going into the winter and kids are going back to school. And now there's carpooling in the morning and you've got this to do and you've got that to do and meetings are happening again. And working out in the morning is probably not working anymore. Your needs have changed. The time has evolved. And that's the same with environmental changes, the weather, societal changes. Heaven knows there's enough going on the earth. We could spend the next 40 minutes talking solely about why it stopped working. But does it really matter? Okay, it can give you a little bit of closure to be like, okay, I can see and acknowledge why this isn't working anymore. That can be somewhat helpful to be like, okay, it's not me. I can see from another perspective why I have been resisting this change, why it's not working the way that it used to. And also, you don't need a reason. You don't have to pinpoint it. It doesn't have to be exact. You don't have to journal it out unless you feel called to. It's okay to say, you know what? It's not working anymore. It's time to find something new. And this, my friend, is where your growth happens. Allow yourself to let it evolve. This is the key takeaway today, okay? Allow yourself to let it evolve. You are evolving. Time is evolving. Circumstances are evolving. You're getting stronger, wiser. You gathered the information that you needed. You reached a certain level of success. You got what you needed from that season. If it's not working anymore, it's because you're ready to level up. So let's shake it up. Let yourself change. Try things in a new order. Try a new method. Introduce yourself to something new. Experiment to find out what that new thing is. Are you going to be perfect at it the first go round? No. Because were you perfect the first go round of what you've been doing? Probably not. I don't have a magic wand to tell you exactly what to do next, other than go into it with curiosity. Okay, if meal prepping on Sunday evenings is not working anymore, what does work? Do I still need and want to meal prep? That's the first question. If yes, okay, let me look at the schedule again for the week. Where do we have more breathing room? Where do I have more free time? Okay, turns out Tuesdays during the day actually look like the better time to do this. I'm going to switch it up. If it's marketing in your business, like that newsletter we were talking about a while ago, okay, hey, this isn't working anymore. First, do I still want to do this? This meaning send out the newsletter. Well, I've been feeling a little bit more called to writing a blog. I want to go a little bit more long form. Cool. So what if you start writing the long form in the blog and simply use the newsletter as a, hey, here is the first paragraph and a half. If you want to read the rest, click here. Ta-da! Changed and evolved. Maybe you have been seeing the same therapist for the last 3, 5, 7 years, and you love them and things have gone well and they've really helped you achieve a lot of things. But lately you've been feeling like, I feel like I have worked through the meat and potatoes of this. I feel like I'm ready for something else. Again, that first question, do I want and need this anymore? Now, disclaimer, I'm not saying just jump ship with your therapist, especially if you're in the middle of working through something. But sometimes when you're done and it's a quiet internal feeling, but you're like, hey, I think I've gotten what I needed from you. I think I'm good. Okay, what's the next step for you? Is it just going back on your own and living through what you have learned? Is it going to a group session? Is it trying yoga or a different form of therapy? Maybe you want to try tapping or meditation. Like there's evolutions of your healing journey. These are just a few examples of saying, hey, what worked for a while really worked, but now I have grown. I've reached a certain level and I'm ready to take this to a new level. Sometimes you just need a break to step away from it for a little while. And when in doubt, get a buddy system. Much like going to the gym with Camden. When he's dragging ass, I'm saying, let's go. When I'm dragging ass, he's saying, hey, when are we leaving? It makes such a huge difference when you are making moves in your life, in your career, or in your business, when you have someone that gets it, that is next to you. So I will ask you as we round out today, what has worked in the past that you are ready to evolve? What will you evolve? First, start with acknowledging what that thing is in the first place. Second, question it. Do I still need this? What do I need from it? What do I need next? Start to get to know this next iteration of yourself. And 3, play with it. Experiment. Try things out. See what works. The only way to find out what's going to work for you is to do trial and error. You might hit the nail on the head on the first time. If so, fantastic. It might take you a few times to find out what that new thing is. And last but not least, I will always sprinkle a little of this on top, is to get a buddy system. The Gutsy Collective is a fan-fucking-tastic way to do this. I'm telling you. And if you've been on the fence or wondering what kind of time commitment there is and are these the right people for you, come experiment. Remember that part where I told you to come play and get curious? The first 2 weeks are on me. If you love it, we're going to roll you right in here. And if it's not for you, that's okay too. All you got to do is take that first step. LauraOra.com, click on the Gutsy Collective, sign up today. All right, my friend, that's it for today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to these episodes. Thank you for being part of this Gutsy community as a whole. I love watching you make your own gutsy moves. Come find me and tell me what you're doing. I am at that Laura Ora on all social platforms. And as always, until I see you next time, stay gutsy.